Da, 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 da. It's the most f***ing awful time of the year. It is cold as balls and there are no card shows and everything's going down. I f***ing hate this time of year. Also, hello. There's an Adam. Oh, it's a 101.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Pack to the Future. I'm your host, Ricky, a.k.a. Mr. eBay. And I am joined by my co-host and partner in crime, Dr. Chad.
Someone call for a doctor?
How you doing, Doc?
Happy New Year.
We're joined also. He's not recording, ladies and gentlemen, but he's Dr. Tim.
Here we go, baby. Prepare to be underwhelmed.
Well, today's a big show. Today, Wax Museum Kyle takes center stage in Card Court. We're going to talk New Year's hobby resolutions. But before we jump into that, first show of the new year.
Yeah.
By the time this releases.
Yeah, good point.
We've got to give a little bit of an update. There's been a lot that's happened since we've seen each other. Last show was our Secret Santa, which was recorded about a week prior. Yeah. How did you guys do on your cards over Christmas break? Any hobby things of interest?
This was the first Christmas that I did not open packs or boxes of cards.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I asked Mama Doc for one specific card.
Yeah.
And she got it.
Did she?
And she still had it in the eBay bubble mailer. So that was exciting. So when I saw the bubble mailer, I was fired up about it. But the card that I got, 2021 Leaf. So it was Leaf. How about that?
Yeah.
Dual auto. Kevin Dillon, Kevin Conley.
Victory
from Victory, the podcast. And as you may remember from Entourage, Johnny Drama and E, dual auto, numbered to 5. Woo! I was fired up for it.
Hell
It's a
Pretty
sticker
cool
auto. The color scheme is very weird. It's red on top, blue on bottom, because, that is nothing associated with their show. But love the card. And I think the part that I like the most about it is it took me like 7 times. So I had to tag these people and then delete it because I kept screwing it up. I went to our Twitter.
Yeah.
And I tagged all the guys and Doug Ellen, the writer, creator of Entourage. Our Twitter got 1 like. Mr. Doug Ellen!
Yeah!
He liked the card!
Success.
Which is impressive. If anyone listens to Victory, the podcast, Doug Ellen has been kicked off of Instagram. He has been booted off of social media. He cannot go on there. So the fact that he found his way onto Twitter to like our post, loved it.
Fantastic.
So you've been talking with him all week, and we're going to be in the next Entourage movie, right?
Exactly. I sent that over to my mom because she's the one who got me the card. And immediately she's like, you're going to get him on the show, right? You're going to bring him on. You guys are going to talk. You're going to end up getting on the show. I'm like,
man,
I'm just happy you liked my Twitter photo.
I love her eternal optimism. Nothing.
It's relentless.
Her.
No, nothing does phase her. It is real. And she has a gift for you.
What?
Oh, I'm going to ruin it.
I forgot it. Ricky, you've got it right in front of you.
I'm going to ruin it.
But that's okay. She got me one too.
She pulled me aside. Feel it. There is no. Don't ruin it for those just listening. Because I'm going to talk about it in a minute. But
there needs to be a beverage in there.
I know. Well, let's fix this right now.
Hey, there we go.
You're moving it from.
Yeah, that's good. So I was very, very happy with that card, and I've talked so much about opening packs with my family and how much fun it is. But you know what? Just from getting the single card and not opening packs, I did not feel the disappointment of not getting a hit.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it was nice. Because oftentimes, I mean, you guys know this. This was kind of the start of our show of how funny it was that I would open up boxes and boxes and never get a hit, right? And how disappointed I would be by that. And I didn't have that disappointment.
Not just
and it was
disappointed,
really nice.
like despondent to the point where we had to do like welfare checks on you the next day.
Oh, when we had our first box opening, and remember at the time I unleashed like $1,500 for like 7 boxes, and we just thought that I was paying out of my butt for those boxes.
Yeah.
Now get me a couple packs of Spectra, but yeah, I would hit nothing and just go home and cry about it. But no, not anymore.
Not anymore. Well, let's keep this Christmas going for you belatedly. 1 second.
Oh, and Tim has walked off air.
Oh,
left the studio.
yeah.
Oh, and he's throwing something, Chad.
Oh, it's in a bubble mailer.
My God.
Yes. It says Chad on there. Very good. It's white with red Christmas.
All right.
And like my running Utes.
Yeah.
Can I open this right now?
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
the
what's
whole point. Because eBay, not Mr. eBay itself did not get this to you in time. 1 day late.
Oh, it's in a Mac. Oh, look at this.
Finally, not baseball.
Yeah, not baseball.
Oh, this is awesome. So it's a 2017-18 Noir Donovan Mitchell rookie card with the rookie emblem numbered to 79. And it is
That's the
you're going to have to help me with the
away.
nomenclature of it.
Yeah, it's the away half of the team logo.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Thank you, man.
It was supposed to be both halves, but 2 a-hole sellers did not budge off their astronomically high prices that were 10x what I got that half for.
This is awesome.
But it'll give you something to chase.
Yeah,
and I'll
that's
still
right.
be on the lookout. And if it's something within what I was planning on getting it for, then it will still come your way. But
That is awesome.
it's out of 79.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That is, and
Anyway.
it does say away on the bottom. I've
Mhm.
seen these cards before. I did not notice that it said, I assume the other one says home.
Yeah. And it'll be the same, a different jersey. So at the time, I think it was their gold. That one's their.
And I love the back half of this gets half of the Jazz logo in silver, and it
Right.
just pops when it catches the light. That's awesome. Thank you. Tim.
Anyway, yeah, that was supposed to make it.
Yeah,
Is-
thank you.
Now it has.
Is Tim the first person in our show history to gift future considerations to someone?
I don't think so. Maybe.
But,
I've
yeah.
done that a couple times this
That is
year,
awesome.
apparently.
Actually, I think I might have been the first when I tried to give Tim his pot stirrer that would stir the soup. Or
Oh,
whatever
that's
you're
right.
doing.
You gave me a redemption card.
It never came. It never came.
Never
No,
did.
I
Yeah.
like that. Thank you, Tim. I think we'll talk about goals for the next year coming up here, but I think one of my goals is going to be to do more surprise gifts like this. I mean, Tim, this makes me very happy. It makes my day. So thank you.
Yeah, no, that was well done, Timmy. You did an awesome job. We're going to jump into that in just a minute.
Tim's gone over to the heater here in the studio and he's cranked it back up to 85.
We're going to be like Justin in Florida.
I always forget that. I'd crack that door open, but then, background.
So how about you guys? Any cards for you? Tim, you had some different cards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the kind with 52 in a deck.
Uh-huh.
52. Yeah.
Give us the details behind the text message you sent Ricky and I. I don't want to hear about you winning. I don't want to hear about your hopes and dream. Well, no, I do want to hear about that as long as it's followed by the truth of what happened at the end.
Yeah.
Crushing pain and misery.
Yes, because that story, as
That's all
awful
people
as
are
it
here
happened to
for,
you,
apparently.
yes.
First of all, if you want to play the at-home Back to the Future podcast game, hit pause right now after you guess this. Where could Tim have possibly been on Christmas evening?
He wasn't
Eve.
at my house where members
Christmas evening.
of
Oh, Christmas evening.
Oh.
Yeah, not Christmas Eve. The evening of Christmas Day.
No. Just if you want to hit pause, take your guess.
Take a
Because
moment.
I think that people are probably going to guess pretty close.
Well, you're also not going to know exactly where this town is.
Yeah, that's
No,
true.
but I
if
think-
you do know, you got a problem.
A bigger problem than I do.
But I think if they can guess the general idea of it.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I already
The
gave you a pretty
state.
big hint.
Speaking of resolutions for the new year, this could be
We'll talk about that. Yeah, that's up for debate. But I was having an okay day. I had laid low for the Christmas holiday and did not have my daughter for this year, and got that itch that I sometimes do, kind of towards the gambling side, not the anyway. But There is only one safe way to play poker near Utah, and that's not a home game. I don't recommend that after stories I've heard.
I'm proud of you for not doing that.
Yeah,
you and I were talking about this, and I really am.
Yeah, that's like Rounders level crap that is not worth my life for.
Yep.
But 2 hours west of us used to be an hour and 10-minute drive when I would drive a lot more recklessly. But now it is closer to 2 hours west is West Wendover, Nevada. And props to anybody out there who knows where that is, besides anyone who lives here in Salt Lake.
Yeah, yep.
But unfortunately, that was the only place to reasonably play poker outside of paying an astronomical amount to fly down to Vegas on Christmas Day, and that did not happen.
Which you did look into as well.
Yeah, I had miles, but...
Why not?
Did you really?
Yeah. I was very damn
Why
close.
not? Why not?
But there's 2-5 no limit out there, which is really surprising. Like, that's just not a game you'd think would be out there, but yeah, I mean, they normally have like 1-2 limit.
How much did you buy in with?
It's a $500 table max.
Oh. Did you buy it for 500?
Yeah. There's no sense showing up to those tables. Yeah.
My mistake, Tim. Sorry. For asking such a ridiculous question.
Around back.
Yeah, I'm not like the guy in C8 who had like $150 stack in front of him that got whittled down to 20 that he was saving for about 3 rounds until he shoved all in with $15. That's not how I roll. But Chad, I mean, I've talked with you about how poker generally goes, and, I held my own for quite some time and had run my $500 up to $1,500 after a fairly good day of also watching football and doing okay, playing football.
Then what happened?
Okay.
Not playing football, but playing football games and props. But bad beats happen.
That's what we're here. This is where it gets juicy, ladies and gentlemen. Pull up that blanket and your hot toddy and listen to this.
Most people who play poker and know poker know that Big Slick or Ace King is a fairly decent hand, but I generally try not to get too carried away with it because bad things tend to happen if you get a little reckless.
Right.
And lo and behold, after about 4 hours of play, this was finally the first time I had caught this hand. A little excited, so I raised pre-flop. Most people fold, but a guy 2 seats to the left of me decides to limp call. I'm like,
Tim knows about a limp call.
I don't even know what he's saying.
If he wasn't out in Wendover on
just-
Saturday, he would have been doing some limp calling himself. Am I right?
well, I don't want any venereal disease, so... But flat call, and, flop comes Ace, King, 2.
Oh, if you flop 2 pair, you're screwed.
Yeah.
That's been my mantra when I used to play poker. You
That's-
flop 2 pair, you're done.
That's generally accurate, right? So that's also why I hate Ace King, even when you hit 2 pair. You're like, because anybody calling you or raising you has something like trips or better.
Or they could have a connector to a straight, right?
Exactly. Something disastrous. So I continue my bet, do like half the pot, and
Which was what at this point? Give us a ballpark.
so raised to 120 pre-flop, flat called. So add in the big blinds, roughly 250.
Okay.
Yeah, 247.
So you're looking at you raised a few packs of hoops.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. All in relative hobby speak.
Yes.
Yeah, a couple packs of
We are a
Don
sports
Russ.
card podcast after all.
There you go. And he just flat calls again.
Okay.
Gives me no info. I'm like, what are you chasing, or what did you hit?
Okay.
Immediately the radars, or the spidey senses on, and the turn comes Ace.
Boat.
Hmm.
Heard of it?
Advantage. Tim. Right?
Yes.
No matter what he has. And so Ace is full of kings at this point. I'm feeling pretty darn good. There should be nothing on the board that beats me.
Okay.
And there isn't. Again, I continue bet.
What type of slab did you put in on your C bet?
It would have been the equivalent of let's do a Scoring Kings Jordan.
Ooh.
PSA 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, roughly $500. So my chip stack prior to this hand was $1,500.
I was gonna say your numbers don't add up, bro. You had to buy in with 500.
No, yeah, but going into this hand after running pretty well, I was sitting at about $1,500, and so I shove in a decent portion of my stack because this guy just, I don't know, he seemed weird. And again, he flat calls, like one of the just weirdest things, because like you should either raise or get the F out of the pot at this point.
What's the turn or what's the river?
River. 2.
Harmless.
You would think.
That's harmless.
Harmless. And so whatever this guy has, he's obviously going to call down to the river for me.
Right.
So I shoved the rest of my stack all in.
Oh, what?
It was like
Zion, Prism, PSA 10?
Yeah, PSA or Zion Silver.
Oh, silver.
BGS 9.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
You shoved them all in.
I shoved it all in. So I'm all in. He instantly calls. Like,
Snap calls are not good.
That's weird again.
What do you have?
Pocket 2s.
Oh! Deuces. You got deuced.
I got deuced.
Double deuced.
1 outer.
You got double deuced in Wendover.
Yeah.
There's another shirt.
That's not how you want to
Do we
lose.
have someone out there who wants to make our shirts for us?
Double deuced.
I
got double deuced in Wendover.
I'll add it to our list of t-shirt ideas, but that was horrendous.
Do you think the guy that beat you deserved to win?
Nope.
That was my favorite part.
Well,
He really didn't.
Well, you were a coin flip on the flop,
Yeah.
You were a
that's
coin
fair.
flip. You had a pocket pair.
Exactly. Yep.
but on the
52,
turn
48.
you were 99%. I mean, you had 2 outs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
No, you had
out.
1 out.
1 out.
You had 1 out.
You really had 1 out. Yeah, because you already hit
Isn't
his
that how you
other
lost
2.
the World Series of Poker?
It was a 2-outer, but a very similar hand. It was pocket 10s, 10-9-2. Yeah. Versus pocket queens. But anyway.
Damn, Merry Christmas, man.
But the story gets better. I didn't tell you guys about this part.
Oh, God.
Normally, the bad beat jackpot in these games
Oh, yeah.
is supposed to be aces full of 10s beaten by quads or better.
Okay.
But on the weekends and holidays, they decide to change those terms.
Meaning, if you had what happened to you specifically,
Mhm.
you should get money back because it was a bad beat.
I would have gotten 50% of the bad beat jackpot, which at the point
Oh.
I looked up to the screen was $8,400.
Oh.
So I would
But-
have won $4,200 for
Right.
having a horrendous beat.
Okay.
But they changed it to quads or better getting beat,
Oh.
which leaves straight flushes and royal flushes.
That's the only ones. Ugh. Well, you're not losing on a royal flush, so. Ugh. Brutal, man.
Bad.
That's brutal. That's brutal.
Wendover. Bye.
Don't go
Sounds like
buy
a
for another half year.
yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I'm sorry to hear that, Timmy. That's rough.
Yeah, it was not great.
But my Christmas, I agree with something you said earlier, Chad. This is I had very little wax that I ripped as well. I got some random Back to the Future 2 packs, which I love.
Oh, yep.
I'm opening those. I might bring a pack in to display or something. But so I got some, and then I got some old wrestling packs. Just more fun, not stuff you'll really hold on to all that long, right? But I cleaned up in the card department, and it was glorious. So
How so?
Ooh.
let me start by thanking again on air my Secret Santa, Bill the Thrill, for my MJ Penny Hardaway Kemp card and gold parallel.
That card is so cool.
It really
It is
is.
so cool. I
So
love that at a
cool.
collector's choice.
Love it. He also got me the Barry Sanders 97 Flair Showcase Row 0
Yeah.
parallel, number 2/100.
He actually asked me about that beforehand, and I was like, hell yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Super, super cool card. And I thank all these guys privately, but just wanted to give them one more shout out. Thanks to Ricardo, Rick for the Project 2020 Griffey Jr., our boy Justin for the Jeff Malone Beam team from when he was a kid. That was the best part. And these are all gifts we opened up off air. So do a quick little rundown.
Yeah.
And then Boston Steve got me a beautiful Barry Sanders refractor Stadium Club card from the 90s, as well as this Barry Sanders dual patch game used Oklahoma State Detroit Lions.
That's so cool.
Numbered to 250. So back then, from the 90s, I believe as well. Super cool. Then, Timmy, you tried to steal the show. You gave me a autographed Donovan Mitchell jersey, which I have to tell you, above in addition, what made it so great is it was an actual jersey, unlike those Leaf products where they just give you the Navy jersey in their name.
Those are so hideous, where it's like the quality level of like a practice uni or like a flag football jersey that you throw off like over.
So you hooked me there big time with an authentic jersey or an actual Jazz jersey, which is super, super cool. And you were tied only by Chad, who got me the Jeff Malone, Reggie Miller dual auto.
Yeah, card wise, that obviously takes the cake.
I did that in part to out you. How you spoke about how you were negotiating with the seller for months when I had the card in my home. for the last like 4 months, it's been sitting there.
That must have been hard to
choose your words carefully around these quarters.
I was working on the slow burn. I was wearing them out.
Yeah, you were.
Waited a little too long, evidently.
Probably wonder why he quit responding to you there after a while.
So I got to thank all of you guys. That was freaking amazing. Fast forwarding to Christmas Eve, Chad's mom got me. Chad's mom. I'm showing it on our video. This amazing Pack to the Future podcast mug, which I will be drinking all of my beverages out of moving forward on air.
Yes. She was so proud to give that to you.
Oh, and I couldn't be happier. I brought it. So we rushed to your Christmas Eve party, and then I felt terrible. We were literally in there enough to sit down, and then we were gone.
No, we loved having you over.
But we really enjoyed being there, and I took the mug into my dad's the next party to show everyone, and they all thought it was super cool.
Well, it's definitely better than like number one dad or like graduate from X.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's a fantastic mug. And then my paralegals got me pages and pages of Detroit Tigers, Detroit Lions, Utah Jazz cards. Included was this Herman Moore from Edge. Oh, I can't read in this. Collector's Edge, I think.
Okay.
You'll remember the logo if you see the back.
Oh, yeah.
Out of 1,000, it was a parallel.
Cool.
So some pretty cool cards. A lot of Barrys, a lot of Jeff Malones. They knew me. We also went with a gold card, Mickey Lolich of the Tigers, that they had found me. So really cool that my staff gets me. And,
that's
they're
cool.
hooking me up as well. My son picked me up the Barry Sanders Mosaic Parallel, which was super cool. Nice. But now to dive into the real gems on Christmas Day.
How many cards do you get?
I'm not messing around, man.
He wasn't kidding. Like
geez.
he said, yeah, he went kind of overboard.
I thought you were joking.
No.
Galore was the word he put in there.
Galore.
Wow.
Yeah.
We really will be into 2022 by the time you finish.
We will. I'm going to go fast with these. 3 more.
No, you're fine. This is fascinating.
I'm just making an emphasis that right now, now's a good time to emphasize this. At the time we're recording, it's still 2021.
It is. Yeah.
For another, 36 hours, Tim?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, time's ticking, isn't it?
Oh, shoot. Yeah, we're going to have to
keep going.
Keep going with that.
Yeah, 36 hours, 35.
Yeah,
I swear
30,
to God,
35,
if you redeem it during card court when I'm just stomping Kyle, there will be no words.
I told you I'm not going to slap.
I'm just 34 and a half now. Yeah.
All right.
Let's see you focus now.
So Mrs. eBay, though, took my Christmas list. This is the first year I've put cards on my Christmas list, specific eBay cards, and she cleaned up.
Wow.
She hooked me up with a Donovan Mitchell Prism fireworks insert, fast break parallel, PSA 10.
That's really cool.
One that I'd been eyeing just because I like the color, the pop.
Well, no, because the fast break version has the little reflective circles on it.
Yes.
And that actually looks way better.
Do you write out your Christmas list with crayons and Dear Santa?
I feel like he does.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, but
multiple colors.
I do like post the hyperlink into each thing to make it easier for them to click and buy.
Hey, that's smart. That's smart though, right? I mean, look, you're cleaning up here.
Yeah.
Then Mrs. eBay, I told you guys a few weeks ago about how some Allen and Ginter mini stained glass cards had caught my eye, specifically Miguel Cabrera. I believe these are numbered to 25 or less, although there's no number stamp on them.
Huh.
They are only accessible through RIP cards.
Oh.
So I was on the hunt for these. I found 2 of them from 2 different years, both Cabrera. One was in the home jersey, one in the away. I sent, hello, we have a visitor.
We do.
Oh, no!
Yes!
Oh,
Yes! Yes! It is Brett the Hitman Hart has walked in.
Oh, my God.
Your punishment is here.
Oh, my God. Oh, he's cashing it in.
We're cashing it in. Brett, you want to show what's inside there?
Brett, the Hitman Hart, in full costume regalia, has arrived and has opened the Money in the Bank briefcase. And Chance
It's been redeemed.
is redeeming the Woo Slap. All right, Tim, you're going to have to pad.
Oh my goodness. I don't even know what to do here. I'm so distracted. This is amazing. So Ricky is
He's even
stepping
got the wrestling boots on.
Ricky is stepping into the ring here, and this is just going to be oh my goodness, he's sweating already. As he would say, the flop sweats. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep. He's up against the ropes right now. He's begging for mercy, and here it comes. Here it comes. We've been waiting all year for this. Ricky goes down to the ground, to the mat.
Oh my God.
That's the Woo Slap heard round the world.
Oh my God.
Are you okay?
Yeah. That was amazing. Oh my God! Oh wait, I didn't get a photo.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Come.
God as my witness.
Oh, man. So welcome to the show, Brett the Hitman Hart, evidently, a.k.a. Brother eBay.
Brother eBay.
My brother Joshua.
Brother of Mr.
Wow.
In full Brett the Hitman
I mean, this is
apparel, wig,
fantastic.
and all.
Wow.
How did that feel? You finally got to hit. You finally got your hands on me.
The best part is,
Hey, we want to give him the microphone, Tim.
Oh yeah.
Tim's just enjoying
the
life.
best
over
part
here.
is you can't hit me back. Free shot.
That's right.
That's been building up decades. So, there's a little bit more mustard than I was expecting.
Well, this is such crap. It's one thing to turn in the Money in the Bank briefcase case for a Woo Slap. You can't have him pulling the rock and ripping his wristbands off. That's maximum momentum.
Well, you were a few weeks ago. We were talking about this, and I told you I was worried because I've never slapped someone like that before, and I didn't know what the implications would be. And you said, you know what? I used to wrestle with my brother Joshua all the time, and I'm gonna be fine. And I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
Well, Joshua is much more muscular than I could ever dream to be.
Right.
And I would love to have him come in here and just whoop one right on your chest. And you collapsed. I was worried.
Well, what I didn't tell you when I tried to sound tough is I have years of wrestling, hardcore match wrestling experience with my brother Joshua, who is larger, taller, and stronger than I am. But Joshua, tell him what was typically happening during those sessions.
That's what I was just going to say. Yeah, he felt great after all those matches because I was being body slammed through the jungle gym. The log cabin,
Really?
Yes.
taking
Man.
metal chairs to the back.
Yes.
I was the Mick
Man.
Foley, and he was everybody else.
I was the Undertaker, Stone Cold, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, The Rock.
Okay, so there was a reason there was a little emphasis on that slap there. That was a little bit of payback.
That was years of it.
Man. That was so good.
Well, really well done, Joshua. We're gonna have you stick around with us through this first segment at least, while we finish up.
Wow.
If I can rebound from that, Jesus. I've just been let down by my entire family, is what the last 5 minutes has shown me. Because what I was getting to before Bret Hart interrupted, Bret the Joshua Hart interrupted. So there was this Miguel Cabrera card, stained glass, I was really looking at, PSA. I'd sent Kyla the link. Not only did I send her the link, I followed up with her as soon as the auction ended, because there was only one bid on this card, the one I really wanted. She made it a point the following day, because I reminded her, hey, there's only like 2 hours left. She made it a point the next day to let me know she had lost that card. until Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Very nice.
She sold that completely. It floored me. Super cool card. And finally, she got me Peyton Manning, Vince Young, dual autograph
kidding.
on card.
Wow.
The first of my Vince Young
Wow.
Hall of Fame tour.
I'm impressed, man. Look at all these cards. My wife has never once even thought about buying me a card or a pack or anything.
This is the first
Never.
year that this really kind of came through for me. So this is how all my Christmas lists are going to be from now on. Only cards.
Yeah,
No
seriously.
cleanup.
I need to start creating a Christmas list.
Yes, you do. Actually, Joshua can tell you, you got my Christmas list, did you not, with the cards on it? Or did I not send that to you? Oh, I thought I'd send it to you. All right. Well, I'm going to go put some ice on my tits. In the meantime, when we come back, we're going to dive into, we actually asked our listeners to set our hobby goals for the new year. We're going to hop into that and more when we come back right after this.
Okay, guys, you know what I've really enjoyed doing when it comes to buying slabs lately instead of browsing eBay? MySlabs.com, which we've mentioned a couple times now, but it's really, really just pleasant scrolling through all their images of uploaded cards and knowing that any potential purchase will only cost me 1%.
Yeah.
Nice.
It is nice, yeah.
Chad got me in on that not too long ago, where I was starting just to browse and couldn't stop myself an hour later.
It's fun, isn't it?
It is.
You
And-
find cards you didn't know existed.
yes, and it's just I just went through blind, just card
Yep.
after card.
Yeah, and it just keeps loading,
Yes.
loading, and loading.
Beautiful.
Kind of like browsing Netflix, you know?
Yeah, and they all
Similar
are
experience.
much more uniform photos.
Yeah.
That Netflix word is really key there. Glad you went there. But yeah, my slaps is great. Sorry.
No, it really is. For the sellers especially, I think that's really what prompted their whole marketplace. eBay just takes out so much. It's ridiculous. Now I've seen calculations, it comes out to about 12.55% on average. You know how they do that total? It's after tax. They take that off of the total
Net?
purchase plus tax. That's not okay.
Oh, I see what you're saying. That yeah,
Yeah.
that's ridiculous.
It's
No,
so easy
it's
to
absurd.
upload your cards to sell
Yeah.
on my slabs.
Exactly.
Too. It's
so
stupid.
there's
simple.
almost no reason to sell on eBay. You've got the dedicated hobby goers know about this at this point, and if you don't, you really need to check it out.
Yeah.
MySlabs.com. There's the reduced fees that we've talked about, major savings basically on both ends of things. You can still find the biggest superstars and also your favorite athletes across all the major platforms. And if you don't like the slabs, still no problem. MySlabs offers all sorts of other stuff. So head over to MySlabs.com, shop for deals, and take your collecting to the next level. MySlabs.com.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the show. You can reach us on our YouTube page. Be sure to go to YouTube, search Back to the Future Podcast, so that you don't miss the woo slap heard around the world.
I posted a video from a few years ago.
Yeah.
You think my hairline looks good now? Oh, buddy, you should have seen it a few years ago. That was high and tight. High and tight.
That was.
These cheeks were a little chubbier back then, too. Boy, that was a round red head.
You've gotten better with age, my good friend.
Like fine wine.
I didn't realize my face got so purple all the time.
It was the
Well-
lighting. It was the lighting.
I believe that was after a full day of opening day baseball and cards and other stuff.
That's right.
Other stuff.
We used to have that bar down the street from Tim. You and I shared a cocktail
I
out of
know.
like 2 straws in one
Yeah,
one
it was
cup.
cute.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I was so red.
Yeah,
good
if I
times.
recall, we sprinted back and forth between that
Yeah,
bar
we
and the
did.
card shop about a dozen times
Well,
that day.
it was the only restroom on that block.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, quick programming note. We had some technical difficulties during the Woo Slap heard around the world. We're still going to bring it to you clear. You've already have heard it by now. But we are going to skip over our predetermined segment 2, which is New Year's goals, which was chosen for us by the listeners. We're going to bump that to next week. So without further delay, sit back and enjoy an incredible card court regarding our fantasy football league. everyone. Welcome back to the show. You can check us out on our Instagram page at Pack to the Future Podcast. Give us a follow. Be sure to engage with us. We love interacting with our listeners. Guys, it is time. Do we want to give any background for this before we go?
Let's give what Kyle thinks is the background, and then we'll give the real background.
Okay. Let's get
So we can welcome in Zorro, a.k.a. Kyle.
He looks
from
like
Wax
the
Museum
cheeseburglar
Podcast.
to me.
I am not a criminal, even though I might look like one right now. So the only thing apparently I've been charged with doing here, from my understanding, is that I was supposedly last place in a fantasy football league. But I'm here to refute those charges.
Well, not only last, but what's the significance of last place?
Well, supposedly now this has changed over time, and that's what we're going to dispute here today. So because I'm going to need an official summary of the charges that have been made against me too. But supposedly I was supposed to bring Mrs. Wax Museum on, and I was going to disclose to her, here's everything I've spent on hobby stuff during the year. But
Fiscal year 2021.
Fiscal year 2021. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. But that ain't happening. And there's no need for that to happen. So we'll go through our charges here, and then I'll state my case, and hopefully the jury will see the truth.
Well, I'll tell you what. Brett the Hitman Hart was not the only surprise on the show today. So let's welcome Mrs. Wax Museum onto the show. Yeah! Yes! I just wanted to see if I could make you sweat right through that costume.
Nah, she's like 6 hours into Downton Abbey marathon. That wasn't happening.
He's got it tied up in the closet.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, you got some of those points. There were some key words there that I don't agree with, but it was pretty close.
So I guess the question is, Kyle, everyone's really worried because now I have my team of attorneys here. I'll turn Brett the Hitman Hart behind me. The question begs, would you like to go first or second?
Would I like to go? Well, I need to know the charges that are formally
Well,
against
I guess
me.
the formal charges
Yeah.
would be that you finished the season dead last, the regular season, dead last in
Okay.
the league. And as a result of being dead last in the league, you are required to either make a financial donation
That was the buyout,
To,
$500 to
to
a charity.
or to call Mrs. eBay out of her Downton Abbey
Mrs. Wax
marathon.
Museum.
Mrs. Wax Museum.
I don't have Mrs. eBay's number.
You do now. I'll text it to you.
Mrs. Wax
This will
Museum.
get interesting.
and notify her and our listening audience how much you have spent in the last year.
I believe those were the terms. They sound correct.
So I'll ask you again, would you like to go first or second?
Let me go first here. I'm going to call a few people in for questioning, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And people that might already be on the jury, might already be in the courtroom here. I know you're the attorney and all that. I'm just the meager podcast host. So the order of things might not be correct here, but the substance is all the same. So
Fair.
I will be defending myself here. As we know from history, that always works well. I'm not the first Florida man to try this. So, just bear with me here. So I want to ask here, who is the official plaintiff in this case?
That would be Pack to the Future podcast along with 10 other fantasy football teams.
So
in
the
league.
Okay.
PTTFL.
So this is a class
FFL,
action,
right?
I'm
Yeah.
guessing. All right.
Class action, absolutely.
Class action. All right. Well, so I would like to actually call Chad to the stand first here. Don't have a lot of questions for you, Chad, but
Interesting.
Chad, come on up here.
All right.
So is
all
this
right,
as a
so-
character witness, or is this already like cross-examination? I don't know
This
what the official terms are.
this is the Florida man version.
Florida man.
So,
okay. Just
so
don't-
Chad, so
What
my
could
first
possibly
question
go
for
wrong?
you,
Yeah.
Yes.
my first question for you is, who was actually the commissioner of this league?
Good question.
The Pack to the Future podcast.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Pack to the Future podcast.
Did I say?
Okay.
Did I make that sound confident? The Pack to the Future podcast is the commissioner of the league.
Correct.
Okay. So do you function all as one, or do you function as three different parts? Because you were in the league as three different parts.
I'd say we're a board of directors with one CEO that acts that pushes the buttons. That'd be Chad.
Oh. Okay, so Chad in this case, all right, Chad was the commissioner. Okay, thank you, Chad. You're a world-class runner. You're a saint. That's all I have for you. Thank you. So next up,
You forgot
I'd
to
like
mention how tall I am.
You're very tall. You're very tall, full head of hair.
Yeah,
the full
yes,
package here.
There you go. Yep.
All right, next I would like to call our resident razzer up to the stand, which would be Junkie Tim.
Ooh.
Not sure how
The
that's
man
relevant in
who
this case, but-
I believe played an entire year and never paid his fee. Now that's been mentioned several times on the show. Is that correct?
Objection, because I did pay week 14, right? I did
Okay,
send
I'm sorry.
via
You
Venmo.
paid
Chad
14
has a
weeks
receipt.
in.
I can pull up a screenshot if you'd like as Exhibit A, since no other evidence has been presented so far.
Okay, well,
turns
all
out I
right.
think makes sense.
Well, this falls in line with some of the questions that I might have for Mr. eBay. So 14 weeks in, just keep that in mind here. So Tim, let's create a hypothetical situation as we're coming up with our evidence here. Let's say that you entered a Raz or a Fatal of some sort, and something you were very excited to be a part of, something you invested a lot of time and energy into, and all the
Debatable.
spots filled up. Okay, Fatal, right? And after they started running the video, they decided to start clarifying the terms of who would pay and who wouldn't. But you knew these people, so you were fine. Now, remember, this is purely hypothetical. Now, let's say that you won said Fatal. You do take the prize and just move on, correct?
Right, because I won.
Okay. Now, let's say, though, if you recognize the flaw in the process, that the terms were in fact clarified after the fact, and it was determined that you lost and you had to pay up, would you not object to that?
I would, and I've seen that happen before, and they do, and usually it results in a rerun of the entire process with the video.
Okay. All right.
You
well,
never want to call Tim as your witness. He'll never say what you want him to say.
all right. Well, no, a rerun. This is the course. This is a good course that we can take.
It does help.
Now, I would say, no, that something similar to this, even though that was a hypothetical, something like that is what happened here. We all joined in good faith. We all kind of knew that the rules and conditions would be consistent across the board. Halfway during the season, Mr. eBay enters the group chat, which, mind you, he was absent for a lot of the season in there. And he says something to the effect of, well, we haven't yet determined what constitutes last place. Do you remember that, Mr. eBay? I know you're not on the stand yet.
No, I was not the first one to bring it up, but I do acknowledge that I responded to the concern.
Mm-hmm. There was
Okay.
a discussion at this point. Yeah.
Okay, so it was, I would say now, it was at this point that everyone in the league realized that they had an out if they needed it. Now, no one said anything about it because they all felt pretty secure in their standing. If they had been in my spot, then maybe they would have claimed it. But anyway, I even mentioned, I think we should do wins and losses. However, we weren't allowed to take a vote on this whole thing. So if we can't vote on it and then there's no actual commissioner, how can we hold the people accountable for the standards that aren't set in stone? Right now, that question was, of course, rhetorical. I don't need a response. I see Tim has left the stand here. So, Mr. eBay, you can come on up to the stand if you would like to. This has been a long time coming. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
All right. Now, when you, Chad, and Tim discussed the league on your show, you determined that there needed to be some sort of a punishment for whoever finished in last place. We discussed that at the top of this segment. That is correct, right?
This is correct.
The show determined that. I wouldn't
The
say
show
I
determines that.
specifically, but the show generally determined that. Yes.
Okay, so we're seeing a pattern here where some people, in some cases, when it's convenient, we're acting individually, and in other cases, we're acting as a collective unit here. So can you explain why, let's say, the show determined that punishment needed to be in place?
Because Chad loves punishing people in his life that love him dearly, and I thought it would be hysterical.
I agree with all that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So now I don't know how, close of attention you paid to my team this year, because you did, after all, have someone else running your own team. We'll get to that in a second here. But to the best of my knowledge, did I not do my best to field a competitive team week in and week out?
I can't speculate as to whether you really did your best job or not. It didn't appear that you did your best, but I suppose you could have.
Fair enough. Now, maybe my best is not as good as some people's worst, but it was still nonetheless my best. And I went to great lengths to try and field a competitive team, and that included trying to trade with other owners in the league.
Right.
Do you remember, and this is for Ricky, not the collective three-headed monster here. Do you remember me asking you several times to review a trade that I proposed to you?
I do.
You do. Okay. Now, what ended up happening there?
It was not accepted, none of your trades.
They were not accepted, right? I was trying to get Saquon Barkley, which I actually offered you a good deal. You waited until it was too late, and then about 5 minutes later, his ankle blew up, so you should have taken the trade. But anyway, how can I be expected to uphold these very casual, some might say fictitious guidelines of the league if the de facto commissioner won't deal with the other owners? So anyway, you did have somebody else running your team at that time too, correct?
I've always run my team, but I did have a general manager employed at that time, if that's what you're referring to.
So, okay, so this is like an assistant to the general manager type situation.
Well, I'm team CEO and president of football operations, and I hired a GM. Yeah.
You hired a GM, right? Okay, so it seems like you had to bring in a ringer to keep you out of last place because you weren't doing it on your own. And out of all people, it was my Northeastern correspondent, Boston Steve.
See, that's why he's really pissed.
Now, that seems like a bit of an unfair advantage, don't you think?
No, I fail to see how it's an unfair advantage in any way, shape, or form.
Bringing a ringer in. All right. Okay. Well, let's shift gears here a little bit. Can you explain for I guess it would be our jury here, and Bret Hart, how exactly first place is determined in this league?
The winner of the playoffs.
Okay. All right. So I'll elaborate that on a little bit here. So to elaborate, you use regular season results to form seeds for the playoffs, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So the number one seed does not necessarily win the league. Correct. Okay. So in theory, he just starts the playoffs in the best position.
Right.
Okay. And then the winner of that bracket takes first place.
Right.
And the person that loses that championship game takes second.
Mm-hmm.
And so on. Right now, this seems kind of trivial here, right? Seems kind of simple, but
I feel like I'm back in school.
Right. Excellent. Good. So then if you were in school, then the next question I would ask is, why wouldn't last place be determined the exact same way?
I will tell you.
Okay.
Right now. Because no one cares once you're out of the playoffs. You're not playing equal opponents. No one cares. No one's ever been expected to care. And in the history of fantasy football, no one has cared.
In the history of fantasy football, you have kickers, you have flex spots. I don't know who's editing. Well, I can't. Even no matter who's editing this week, I can't. I don't know what's going on with this league, to be honest with you. It was set up in a very strange way. Maybe I'm out of the fantasy football game here, but I would say, though, if first place is determined that way, then last place should be the same way, which, mind you, I am 2-0 in my portion of the bracket.
Of course he is.
Record.
And I am going to play Chad's team this week, so sorry, Chad, 3-0. But how can the winner of the consolation... How can the winner of the consolation tournament be burdened with the title of being in last place, especially when all of the money spots are determined using the same format. So anyway, once again, rhetorical. Thank you, Mr. eBay. That's all I need for you as I move into my closing arguments. Let's summarize it for the jury. Then you guys can go ahead and we can have some back and forth from there. There's no definitive commissioner of this league. There were no clear rules heading into the season. Someone tried to act as commissioner and implemented guidelines mid-season. The rest of the league saw the injustices and stood by because they were comfortably in their positions. Mr. eBay brought in a ringer to help him and was non-responsive to reasonable trade requests. First place is determined by a tournament. That should be used for last place as well. Gentlemen of the jury, I am obviously pleading not guilty of finishing last in the 2021 Pack to the Future Fantasy Podcast Football League. I might be a loser, but I'm not that big of a loser.
Boy, that was a lot of paper cuts.
That was. I appreciate how
I'm impressed.
he stuck to the legal system far
Yes.
better than Tim could have ever. We're going to jump right into my closing.
All right. Hey.
But
You're
we're
that
gonna-
confident,
I'm
huh?
going to recap everything for you guys.
Okay.
Wax Museum Kyle has just told you guys a very interesting story.
How's that?
Very interesting narrative. It's generally interesting. He makes some interesting points. But don't let him fool any of you into thinking you don't know fantasy football. You've grown up with it. You know how fantasy football works and how it doesn't work. Don't let him have you rethink those rules that you've learned from childhood. Passed down to generation to generation.
I actually don't know if Tim knows anything about it. But point is taken.
All right. At the very beginning, at the draft, we determined that last place in the league would pay off this bet.
Mm-hmm. We did.
We thought it was such an obvious answer as to who last place would be that we left it there.
Last place. We just
Last
said
place.
last place.
It did. It was brought up mid-season and
I didn't-
discussed.
I didn't interrupt during your case in chief.
Objection, Your Honor. It was brought up in the mid-season chat, and it was very confusing.
It wasn't. It might have been for some. I can tell you for a fact it was not confusing to Kyle. It came up November 8th of this year.
He does seem like a very smart man the way he presented these facts.
He does.
I find it hard to believe that he was confused.
But
I guess I should shut up. as a
Yeah,
juror.
and I'm going to demonstrate that. On November 8th, the question comes up of how do we determine last place? Is it the end of the regular season or after the playoffs? Chad and Tim, off air, both reached out to me and said, we're going to need you to deliver a clarification ruling on this. And
So you're the GM. So you're the commissioner.
I'm the legal-minded of the three-headed beast that runs the league.
Of
I'm
this corporation.
Exactly.
The legal department.
Think of us as the Cerberus with
See,
Chad as
jury,
the
notice
biggest and the
that
largest
things
head
are
in the
changing here.
middle.
There was some confusion about who the commissioner is, and yet they all yield to one person.
Well, we're 3-1 in the same.
Right.
He's the head of the legal department of the PTTF.
And they review
Entity.
They review contracts and they clarify contracts and issue binding rulings,
Like the woo slap that you just received.
like the Woo Slap. As a result, I sent a massive and detailed ruling on this issue, making it clear that the team with the worst record at the end of the regular season was our loser. My first note
Mid-season.
as to this ruling is no one cares about fantasy football after you're eliminated. So my ruling was clearly correct and solid foundationally. Second note is I asked for feedback on my ruling, and almost immediately after delivering my ruling and requesting feedback, the second responder was Wax Museum Kyle. Quote, last place at end of reg season. End quote. Also,
I
followed
hold on.
up with,
Objection,
quote,
Your Honor. I mentioned that in my argument here. I said I voted for last place at the end of the regular season, but we were not given a chance to actually count the votes up. I mentioned that in my argument.
I didn't see vote at all. And in fact, what I saw was, quote, that's the way I understood it all along. End quote.
Gasp.
He has demonstrated working knowledge of the rule as it was detailed and clarified for the rubes that didn't understand. He knew it all along and admitted to it. 3 days later, November 11th, Kyle writes to the chat that he's looking for a decent running back. Chad, you respond with a trade offer, to which Kyle points out you were offering him a running back on a bye week.
Should have taken it.
November 14th, Kyle notifies the league that his poor team has lost 5 straight.
Why did you have to point out that I offered? Like,
I'm just telling you.
It has nothing to do with it.
It comes into my argument.
Absolutely.
November 14th, Kyle notifies the league that his poor team has lost 5 straight, and panic begins to set in for Mr. Kyle. November 16th, Bill the Thrill roasts me with his tag team partner Primo the Latin Crack in Pulpos.
Best cameo I've
First
seen
comment is Kyle laughing his ass off.
It was funny.
in a while. It was pretty good.
It was
I
good.
just want to show that Kyle's a jerk. November 21st, Kyle's, quote, serious fantasy lineup that he's been playing all season included only players that started with the name, whose first name started with the letter D.
What?
I remember that.
Because
in the
his
chat.
team is a giant fantasy dump. Dick jokes promptly ensue. That's that happened. Check the
Yeah,
record.
you did enjoy that, though. Let's be honest here.
I did. If I'm gonna throw stones at glass houses, I have to allow stones to be thrown at mine. I enjoyed the dick jokes.
Who doesn't?
November 28th, Kyle primes his move to screw our whole league over by saying, quote, the whole thing is rigged. He follows that up by saying, quote, I'll weasel my way out of it, though. I don't need that stress in my life right now. LOL, end quote. Now, later that night, Boston Steve appropriately points out that the 3 hosts of this show, a.k.a. the commish, aren't savvy enough to rig the league. If that's not beyond a reasonable doubt,
Damn right we're
evidence,
not.
I don't know what is.
It is fitting that your ringer has to save you once again.
December 6th, doom has arrived for Kyle. Boston Steve asks Kyle if he has his 2021 balance sheet ready for Mrs. Wax Museum. Kyle is scrambling, Googling countries with no extradition to the U.S., and mapping routes via bus to Mexico or via boat to Cuba. When that doesn't work, the following morning at 5:09 a.m. Eastern,
My man.
which I don't trust anyone that gets up.
My man.
I'm
Yeah, that's
a
good.
working man, Ricky.
Yeah.
I'm a working man.
I like
He
it.
writes, quote, it ain't happening. Dan, my boy in the league who gets it, posts a screenshot of Kyle's agreement with my ruling in November to make sure Kyle understood the rules. He did, and he does. Kyle responds with the following, quote, Ricky voided all that regardless of the way I understood it. I'm telling you, it ain't happening. I'm not joking. Shrug emoji. My man, Dan, points out his pasted image was Kyle's response to my ruling, to which Kyle responds, nah, I don't need that stress in my life right now. My boy Selly then asks Kyle how he plans to pay off the bet, to which Kyle responds, shrug emoji, followed by, quote, the whole point was to keep people from dropping out. I tried to be competitive every week. Okay, millennial, we'll dig out your participation trophy. He also said, quote, Ricky wanted to change the rules in the middle but refused to review trade proposals. How can I compete like that? Kyle, the eBay Express was picking up players when we saw teams in need of the position. How many times have you heard Bill Belichick say the Patriots would have been better that year had Bill Parcells or Brian Flores accepted one of his trade offers? Never?
How
Dan
many
appropriately
times did
points
Bill
out-
Belichick, hold on, how many times did Bill Belichick call in a ringer coach to coach the team for him?
All of them. He hires all the best coaches that get fired. They come straight to the Patriots for a year off. All right. Finally, Dan appropriately points out, this is how those contracts and disclaimers start. One person that challenges things, and now everyone has to sign an agreement to potentially be part of a human centipede. Dan is 100% correct. We can blame Kyle for this one. Finally, December 19th, Boston Steve reminds Kyle, I'm sorry, Kyle, but he reminds Kyle he is a loser, he lost, he's in last place, and he needs to get over it. Boston Steve's words, not mine. Kyle's response, nope, Ricky never clarified what the terms were. Selly then responds, yes, he did. It was actually even made very clear in the chat when I asked.
He was all over that.
Kyle said, I voted for the worst record, but terms were never clarified. I tried. Selly then reposts my ruling a second time, to which Kyle responds, it needed to be established at the start. Well, Kyle, it was established at the start. It required clarification, which I provided in November, when we were all at risk of losing our significant other, or having to tell that.
Even I was. I was
All of
within a
us.
game of last place.
Every single one of us. There were 5 weeks left when that clarification came. Now, Selly made one final great point, and I'll end on this. LOL, you lost. Just own up to it.
Selly was brutal.
Selly was brutal. I'd be a little worried if I were Kyle. Selly might send me like a sparkle bomb or something in the mail.
All right, so where are we at now?
So where we're at is Wax Museum Kyle has lost the league when everyone knows that you stop caring. If you're not in the playoffs, you stop caring the moment the regular season ends.
Yeah, I stopped checking last week.
Although people are still changing their lineups, mind you.
Yeah, Kyle.
I haven't looked at mine in
I
3
did
weeks.
try and go change.
Other people are
ours.
still changing their
I
lineups.
think he's referring to me.
All right, so Tim, we got to figure this out. And Brett, you got to be here with me. So a couple of thoughts for me. I had some great points, but that was like 7 pages ago on Ricky's argument.
Yeah.
And I forgot what they were. But a couple of things. Ricky's right. I live to punish people and for good entertainment. And that was absolutely my intent in thinking of that. Kyle I'm a sucker when people say they don't need that stress in their life. Yeah, that hit home. And had you not said that, this would not even be a card court.
No.
So, Kyle, are you prepared to accept the punishment that was agreed upon by the vast majority of the league?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's necessary.
That's like when I ask a
that's like
patient
a
if they have
10
chest
minutes.
pain and they don't say yes or no.
I feel like last place is punishment enough, especially considering the kind of the way that things kind of wavered throughout the year.
Well, Chad, do you think we succeeded in... Because the point of having a punishment for last place in a league is to keep everybody engaged, and so that somebody doesn't check out like during the week 4 bye. And
Oh, yeah, that was one of my
forget to-
points.
Forget to set their lineup for the rest of the season. So
No, I guess my thought with the punishment was to punish someone. Was to punish
okay.
someone.
Well, okay, seriously, we have a relatively unbiased juror here.
yeah, we do.
He
How
knows
convenient.
nothing about the league. I don't talk to him other than he listens to our show occasionally. He hates my guts, clearly, as we've seen by my tip.
I think he just touched you the inside of your guts with the back of his hand.
I think he did.
Hate you a little bit less right now.
Let's get
What-
his
what do you
initial
think?
thoughts, at least.
Yeah, so this is, it's hard to not approach this both as an avid fantasy football player and as an attorney. So I'll say this, Father eBay is a perennial loser. He is always in the loser's bracket. And he makes the same arguments that Kyle does. And every year, the answer's no, you're in last place.
The truth comes out.
As a matter of fact, he's been playing against my wife for the past 6 weeks in the playoffs in the loser's bracket.
Oh, he's talking about Popper.
Yeah.
Papa eBay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
Not Mr. eBay.
As to the actual contract, even if there was some confusion, there was clarification and you remained in the league. Nobody else said, hey, I'm going to back out. So you have recertified your agreement, and there is no justification at this point. You know, sometimes there's mandatory minimum sentences that judges don't want to give out, but it's the law. And so even
Bret
though
Hart
some
has
feel
always
really
been a
bad,
heel.
sometimes you just got to take it.
But Chad, do you hear that though? So,
So-
like a mandatory minimum sentence. So is that
Uh-huh.
what we're reducing it to?
So here's the thing: we can't force him to get his wife on the show, and we can't force the buyout clause, which we set at $500. Which again, Ricky, I think even noted during the podcast, which was to absolutely punish someone if they wanted to get out of it.
Right.
So
At the same time, we have a league full of pissed off team
we
owners.
do, and that makes this difficult as well. But this is all in the spirit of good fun and entertainment. We spoke, I mentioned perhaps a little alternative clause should this go this way before the show. Should we proceed with that?
Yes.
I think
Okay.
it's time.
Punishment is due. It does not have to be the punishment that we stated because you tugged at my heartstrings when you said you don't need that stress in your life. Kyle, you going to the National?
I believe so, yes.
All right. You know what else is at the National in Atlantic City on the boardwalk? They have mobile advertising trucks. And one will be stationed at the front of NSCC 2022. Pack to the Future podcast presents Wax Museum Podcast Fantasy Football Loser.
Yes!
Each day of the National for entrance and closure for all to see.
Fair enough. I can accept that.
Fair enough.
And at least you can get some justification that not only are you not going to have to buy the buyout clause and you're not going to have to tell Mrs. Wax Museum, but we're going to end up paying for this.
Somehow.
But for the sake of entertainment.
Oh, but yeah, well, yeah.
And we're requiring you must find it and take a selfie in front of it.
Yeah, we got to take a
Oh
picture.
yeah, I
of it.
like that addendum to the clause. Yep.
I
How's
think we
that
can make
for
that
an
happen.
addendum?
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
I think we can make that happen. Even though I was not last place, I think we can make that happen.
Okay.
I like it.
Well, I think we've reached a resolution.
I like it.
Wow, is that our most successful card court ever?
Oh, I can tell you, this just affirms my decision. I would never want to do your job. Oh my God, no. It's just brutal. You guys both did great, and I'd never want to do that.
It is. It can be painfully boring. You do have to keep your focus on what we're telling you,
I can't do that.
No,
and it's hard.
neither of us.
I certainly understand that.
Well, that was great.
Well, thank you, Kyle, for coming on and being a great sport.
Yeah, you're great.
Check out Kyle's podcast, Wax Museum podcast, wherever you can find major podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, anywhere.
Go click his eBay link before you go make your next purchase.
Do that as well. Please go onto his website, click the link before it just sends you to eBay.
Yep.
It all does is
Sends you
just
to
send
eBay.
you to eBay, gives Kyle a little bit of extra change in his pocket to help him keep his show going. He's one of our very best friends in the hobby. And we appreciate you coming on and playing the role of the bad guy and being such a good sport.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the three of you co-running, co-commissioning a league. It was a good time, even though I finished toward the bottom. It was a good time still.
And we'll let you know how it turns out next year.
All right. Well, it's been another really fun show for Joshua the Hitman Hart, Chad, and Tim. And Kyle. This is Ricky, the Kyle's Fantasy Football Dead Last Loser, Last Place, Absolute Loser, Last Place. Wishing all of you a one-of-one night.
Did you lose?
You shut your mouth! Every year I set this league up, every year, and I never win! This was the year! Bullshit! I babysit you morons, I babysit you! Oh, help me out, do this, move that guy around! Oh, I don't know how to set a lineup! You, Taco, and Ruxin. Look me in the eye, Ellie. There is no candle. And there's no Christmas, there's no God, there's no Easter Bunny, there's nothing.
I gotta say, I feel like I just won twice.